Okay, so now I'm joined by Kerry. Kerry, what's your name and where'd you come from in true Cilla Black fashion?
Hi, my name is Kerry Bowden. I look after distribution, route to market in EMEA for enterprise at NVIDIA.
Fantastic. So essentially that's us.
That is basically anything to do with the data center, but also now, as we're seeing, products outside of the data center, robotics, AI at the edge, and also the cloud, software. It's all about software. It's not just about hardware anymore.
Fantastic, fantastic. So what do you do, on a day-to-day basis? What sort of, how are you helping to grow and help partners to sort of engage with NVIDIA?
Sure. Well, as you hopefully have seen from GTC, we are transforming the data center.
Big
And
time.
I think that is a transformation that is going unnoticed by many people. One of the biggest opportunities we have right now is to go to customers and also to go to partners to say there's something happening, something different, there's something new that you have to get your head around and you have to understand.
Yeah.
And that is GPU computing. This is what all the fuss is about. It's different from CPU computing, and here's why.
Yeah, and that's been one of the nicest things about this whole conference has been, as we're seeing Moore's Law, and I appreciate we're getting a little bit technical, but as you appreciate when we start to see Moore's Law pan off. And one of the things I hadn't thought that was brought up in the keynote was the fact that if we want to continue to consume compute in the way we're consuming it, if fundamentally the speed is plateaued, we're going to need double the amount of compute
Correct.
to do the same thing.
Correct.
So actually, we need a new paradigm. And actually, I hadn't really thought, if I'm brutally honest with you, I hadn't thought of GPU computing as that next paradigm. And I'm so pleased that actually I'm here and I get to hear and listen about just exactly what that means.
Well, fun enough, we've actually already been through this transformation. So we went from rigid servers to virtualized servers back in early 2000s. And that's what we told everyone, rather than having more and more and more servers, you have less servers that are virtualized, but much more powerful.
Yeah.
Well, this is a similar kind of conversation, but it's like 10 times the size, because it's now saying, well, actually, rather than having loads more servers, I'm going to get too much hand direction.
That's all right, you crack on.
Rather than having too many single servers, even though they're virtualized, you need more powerful servers, GPU servers, that can actually take on applications and service applications and workloads that are not GPU enabled, but almost GPU required.
Yeah.
And more applications, more and more operating systems, in fact, more workloads overall are requiring a GPU.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I took away was, I'd thought, albeit, wrongly, that GPUs were the domain of very specific applications, almost like a niche part of an application, sort of the offload of this one specific task. But actually, it's becoming much more, there's a much wider tranche of opportunity, from virtualization in sort of VDI and accelerating graphics for VDI all the way through to AI, through to vision, through to simulation, and all these different workloads.
It's a tremendously flexible solution, but the thing to remember is you mentioned the gaming cards, and that's pretty much where we start.
Yeah.
But it's the same architecture, and that parallel processing, that parallel computing, you need that to render fire or water in a way that a gamer is going to appreciate, and that's a very unsympathetic market. So NVIDIA's 83% market share at that end. But the same architecture, that same expertise is now being applied in the data center. So you mentioned virtualization. That's probably the biggest near-term opportunity as of today for partners that are selling Citrix, selling Microsoft, selling VMware, and they actually want to truly enable the user experience that those companies say they need.
So this is the thing, so you don't actually need to even be in the AI business. You can just take the next step on from the VDI discussion you've been having or the application streaming discussion you've been having for years now, and really
basically
enable that.
it is probably the mass market opportunity for GPUs in the data center. But as you just heard from today, and this is something that NVIDIA's just released, now the database analytics market, so rather than having to write a query, press go, and then disappear for 12 hours to get coffees, actually you can get a return on that process within minutes, using the same architecture that you use to power high-performance applications, deep learning, vGPU installations, and now
And I must admit, I like
analytics.
that a lot, because I'm a big advocate of ETL. I'm a big advocate of probably the most labor-intensive part of any machine learning, is the data preparation, the data munching, or whatever people call it.
And there's also different types. So there's words, there's visual, there's text, there's media, there's different kinds of data, and obviously the brain learns in different types of ways, and they're called frameworks. So the framework, actually, there's now, there used to be a handful, there's now dozens of frameworks which really are machine ways of teaching it how to learn.
Yeah.
So in the same way that a human being recognizes a face, well, for visual recognition, that's a framework, and there's dozens of them that computers can use to recognize pictures or recognize whatever images that you need them to recognize.
Yeah, and that was one of the really nice takeaways. Was that actually you're extending. So we'll put it up later on, but there was a really good sort of drawing by a developer of sort of his general day.
Yeah.
And it had press go, go and get
Disappear.
lunch.
Press
go and get coffee,
Exactly.
Play games.
Exactly.
And it was sort of there's a time taken for all these different processes to take.
Yeah, and I think that the point to make there is, before GTC, the total addressable market in the data center globally was 50 billion, okay? And we were talking about visual computing, we were talking about high performance computing, so applications that are specific to industries or sectors, scientific applications.
Yeah.
And then we have deep learning, and obviously AI is the beginning of the fourth industrial revolution. But that same kind of approach is now being translated into database analytics. And that is about $260 billion opportunity.
Yeah,
so
and
that's
huge.
one of the ways that straight away partners can really focus on monetizing their understanding and relationships with NVIDIA.
Yeah.
That's what we need them to do.
And I must admit, if you look at sort of that database opportunity, if we can make dealing with the database and sort of converging and sort of normalizing and crunching all the different things together, and actually one of the things I picked up on was there's a lot of talk of very common terminology like joins and views, which in a database world, they're the sort of bread and butter of what you do every single day. And it was nice to hear those terms in an AI presentation, because all of a sudden it starts to become, as you say, a much wider opportunity. You're using terms, you're using sort of programming paradigms that people are used to, people know, and actually people can then say, well, actually the sort of, I think one of the biggest problems that we find in AI and in the whole world today is the knowledge gap, the knowledge barrier to get involved with an NVIDIA is perceived to be so high.
And the irony is that it shouldn't be, because we've all done this before. So in 2005, you remember cloud?
Yep.
Everyone knew what cloud was. No one had a clue how it could transform the business. Okay, so roll forward 10 years, everyone knows about AI. They know that AI is the next transformational technology globally. They know it needs data, and they have data.
Yep.
But they don't know the outcome. How is it going to make them faster, more productive, cheaper, more effective, whatever the outcome is for that company? That is what our partners need to enable our customers to understand. Yeah. So they know they have big data. Everyone knows that. They've heard of that for years. They now see this AI opportunity come up, and they know they've got to embrace it, but they don't know how. They don't know what the outcome can look like. So helping them ask the right questions of their data, helping them understand that it actually is around trying to transform not just their environment, but also their relationship with their customers and their go-to-market.
Well, I must admit, so we've spent a lot of time talking to customers about, take the vertical messaging away, but it's about helping customers to make better data-driven decisions.
Yes.
Fundamentally, right? Because at the end of the day, all of this is completely nonsensical unless you're trying to fundamentally answer a question that a company needs to make more money, save money, or stay out of jail, right?
That's true. However, what we'll say is at the partner level, it is about them being the true trusted advisor to help their customers navigate the journey over the next 5-10 years.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we can all agree that there's going to be a lot of transformation to our daily lives with AI and what is happening in the industry. So how are you going to educate your customers, Mr. Partner? How are you going to take them through that journey? And the good news is that I've just come up with 4 strategic opportunities right now that differentiate you from pretty much many other CPU architecture resellers in the marketplace. It's a great time for differentiation. It's also a great time for leadership and being that trusted advisor to your customers.
Yeah, fantastic. Look, Carey, could talk literally all day. As I know,
I normally do.
As I know the team have warned me about.
Yes.
Thank you ever so much for coming on.
Absolutely
really
welcome.
appreciate it.
Thanks
We'll
ever so
catch
much
you
for your
soon.
time.
Cheers.